that's possible. I mean, I got to be candid with you. Back in the day when the internet didn't exist, and you wasn't even born at that time, but I was. Everybody, it was a word of mouth or by phone and things like that. But it makes it so convenient now to be able to get on. Businesses are growing. I mean, they're huge now because of social media. They can connect with everybody, anywhere, in any country, So I wouldn't want to go back to where it was. Not that I had it bad or anything, but I mean, there's so many advancements now, that are beneficial because of social media. Now, don't get me wrong, there's positives and negatives to anything, but it just depends on how it's used. I mean, it's a very powerful tool. There are a lot of, kids out there that have access to the social websites and things like that. They're affected in a negative light because there are bullies out there that harass people, and it's an embarrassment to whoever's being affected. They can't talk to anybody. They can't go to their family because they're embarrassed. They can't go to their friends because their friends are making fun of them. So what do? They ultimately take their life. They fall into a deep depression and they can't be saved. I think there should be strict laws against that. I think the people that create this, say things, it's like, well, I just said a few words and they killed themselves. Well, yeah, you were the cause of that. And you deserve to be punished. So yes, I believe there should be really strict laws when it comes to the way people treat each other on the internet.
I do in this day and age because there's so much going on within the entire world. It really gives us access to things that we didn't have 10 years ago even. I really think it's good to stay on social media and see what's going on, see what's new, and getting information as soon as you can. It's really benefited us in a lot of ways. It's been bad in some cases, but for the most part it's really good. It's a really good part of our life.
Every day, probably every hour. From the time I wake up, I just check, Instagram really quickly. And then in between classes, as I'm walking to classes, I'll check through Instagram or go on Snapchat, and then right before I go to sleep. I wouldn't say I'm addicted because I feel as though in order to have an addiction, you would have to crave it and you couldn't live without it. And I feel like I could live without social media. It is a beneficial, or I would say important part about my day, but I could go without social media. I wouldn't die without having social media in my life. Laws per se, I mean, I don't think that there should be laws to regulate it. Definitely there should be an etiquette applied because just like in speaking in person with someone, there's just certain things that you should and should not say or do. So I definitely think everyone should have a certain level of respect for everyone else on social media. But when it comes to laws, I don't think that's necessarily necessary. I would just say be vigilant, just be cautious of what you post, because I realize that in this day and age, nothing is private. You can think you deleted something and it's gone, and that may not be the case. So I would just definitely say be cautious of what you do and just make sure you're making the right decision whenever you post anything on social media.
One time we went to New Orleans on a trip, me and my wife. And I hadn't seen this person in probably about 6-7 months to a year. And he says, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing great." Like, "What you been up to?" He said, "Oh, nothing much." He said, "What have I been up to?" "Not much." He said, "Well, I heard saw you had a good time on Facebook." I mean, when you went to New Orleans, yeah, y'all were at this and y'all went to this place. I'm like, well, man, I didn't even get to tell him that because he saw it already. So it kind of ended a lot of the conversation to me, cut it short, so it takes away from that dialogue that you have with people. It was social bullying, or what is the term? Cyberbullying. Yeah, cyberbullying, it affected my son quite a bit. And, the fact that people are doing those, it's bad enough when you're growing up and you're in school and somebody walks past you and they push you or something like that. And a lot of times the physical part, you can get over it, but when you're messing with a person's head, and it can be a lot more damaging, more long-term, I think. Keep a balance in your life. It's this social media is a way of life now, you know. So it's not going away. People are going to find more and more ways to connect and keep in touch with the different softwares and programs that come out now. But it's just a matter of keeping that social media connection and keeping that social, physical, person-to-person connections also.
I have twins that are in college, and I've noticed that if I can't reach them, it's a way for me to see what's going on. They seem to put their emotions out on Facebook, and I can tell if something's going wrong or if something's going right. So one of my sons was cyberbullied. He used to be physically bullied, and then now that this social media has taken in full force, I've noticed that he was being cyberbullied, and it took a pretty big toll on him. And because he's my child, of course that affects me. So it does affect your family. I mean, he's started campaigns over bullying. It affected him, and he's going strong now to see what can be done to make things change. People are killing themselves over a simple word that people use. Some people aren't as strong as my child. He's very strong, and everybody's not that strong. That people really need to think about what they do, about what they say. One word, 2 words can really affect somebody, and you should try to put yourself in somebody else's shoe. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Everybody's not as strong as the next, and people are taking pills, and you know, they're killing themselves, and the things that we might think are simple, the next man might not think, or woman might not think is simple. And we have little kids taking their lives because they're being bullied and cyberbullied. People are giving their 8-year-old cell phones. Now, I'm not saying that's right or that's wrong, but people are giving 8-year-old cell phones. They have Instagram accounts, they have Facebook accounts. Do they really know what they're doing? I don't know, but we're starting these kids young. I definitely feel there should be laws. I don't know how to make it really work. I'm not skilled on that, but I do believe that we need some etiquette. I mean, you put one thing out and it buzzes. Look at Twitter, all of it. It just, rumors, real stuff, and it affects people.
I use social media and basically started using it just to find out what my girls were doing and my grandchildren. It got to a point where I would try to call the family and they wouldn't answer the telephone. So I figured out that it was best to just go ahead and text them, because that's how I would get a response, is through texting. So I started getting involved with the texting and the Facebook simply to stay in touch with the family. I've been impacted on a personal level, in which I'd rather not get into some of the personal stuff, but I've sat back and I've watched how my family has been impacted. Some of it very positive, and some of the things quite negative. For instance, I've watched pretty bad dialogue go on between the kids and their friends. I've seen the kids be bullied on Facebook. I've seen them go off and even measure sometimes their worth through the likes that they receive and how people respond. And I just feel that too much concentration is based on what society thinks of people, you know, as far as likes and sharing. And to me, it's gotten to the point where the self-worth is coming more from individuals opposed from within. I think we should use common sense as far as social media is concerned. I'm a strong believer of if you don't have something positive to say about somebody, why say it at all? And because social media is gone global, and in third world countries, we're starting to see more and more social media out there. I feel that laws will have to go into place. I'm not real sure how they will ever be implemented, but I'm quite sure that people will one day probably get arrested or really start getting in trouble for the things that they're saying and placing on social media. I mean, we see action being taken now, but I'm quite sure there'll be a set of policies, procedures, rules, and guidelines on what's correct to put out there on social media. I really feel that social media is addicting, and the reason why I say that is because I'm addicted just trying to figure out what my kids are doing and my grandkids. And sometimes I feel like I need to block them because some things I don't like and it impacts me. So as far as addictions are concerned, yeah, I think I am a little addicted. I sleep with my cell phone right next to me. The first thing I do in the morning is look to see what's going on in their lives, and I'm finding myself trying to figure out what's going on in other people's lives. So yeah, it is. It is addicting, and you really have to be careful with it.
I know that there are negatives to social media because it affected one of my grandchildren. And he was being bullied, and I know he had an addiction to social media. And how do I help him understand what it means to put things on social media that affect the life of others? I had to think a lot about it, and I also had to pray a lot about it, because I wanted my grandchildren to understand not just how it affects them, but how it affects the other people, so that their bullying would not be something that they continue or fight back on social media with, but to set an example. And I'm so proud of one of my grandsons who has done that. Even though there should be laws against those things, we still have to use common sense. So a lot of people depend upon laws to guide the way they do things, but really just think about it, common sense should be your judge. You should have the etiquette yourself to know what you should let the public know and what you should keep private. So I agree that there should be some laws, but I agree that we need to use common sense. There are a lot of children who are being involved in social media, and they don't really know the effects of it. They just have the tool to use and they use it without really knowing what the effects of it is.